Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Um, and maybe we will see more people join us. So, first of all, let's start with some introductions of some new people. Jimmy, would you like to introduce yourself quickly, please?
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for inviting me again this week. My name is Jimmy Jewett. I'm the director of member outreach for the Connect Everyone Coalition, which launched just over a year ago in the effort to kind of, similar to what I think a lot of y'all do, kind of bridge the digital divide by educating stakeholders across the country on every connectivity opportunity available. Our particular educational focus is on low Earth orbit satellite technology, but we do have coalition members, which we're now up to 121 coalition members across the country that kind of fit within different aspects of kind of the bridging the digital divide from traditional broadband to kind of LEOs and other options out there. So this kind of high level introduction of kind of what we do. We're mostly education based. Excited to listen in and hear a bit about what y'all are doing in Arizona. We have a couple Arizona coalition members as well. So we try and keep our ear to the ground about what's going on in your state. But I'm glad that Steve invited me and looking forward to participating today.
Great. And Jimmy and I will be talking, and then he will be doing, hopefully, a presentation to the task force sometime in the next week or two. So, let's see, who else do we have? Dawn Jones, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Dawn Jones. I am the Community Engagement Liaison for DES. My division is the Division of Benefits and Medical Eligibility, which oversees SNAP, TANF, and access determinations. In my role, I try to build a bridge between DES and the community in any way I can. I'm very project focused. I've done many things for DES over the 9.5 years that I've been with
All
them.
right, thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just saying that I'm project focused and try to build a bridge, but I'm interested in being in this group and listening to what you have to say and trying to find out where I could fit in any way I can.
Sounds great. Well, welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
you could glad you could join us this morning. Christy Keene, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. Same thing with John Haas. Welcome, guys. Haven't seen you in a while. And Jason, I already told Jason we're glad to see him back. And Ted, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I'm Ted Vogt. I'm Vice President of Government and Regulatory Affairs for Traversing Group. I'm subbing in for my colleague Elizabeth Bartholomew, who's probably been on a lot of these calls. She's going out on maternity leave. So nice to meet everybody.
Great. Well, we want to hear more about what you guys do and at some point in the future. So thanks for joining us this morning. Do we have anybody else who's new? I don't think so. So let's go ahead and get started. So we have a great presentation this morning. We're welcoming back Sky Downey and excuse me, and Jessica. Where are you, Jessica? Now you're here. There you are, up there. Um, and so Sky and Jessica are with Digital Lift. Jessica's been attending pretty regularly. Don't get to see Sky very often, so we're glad to see her today. So I'm going to just turn it over to you guys and tell us about Digital Lift and what you guys do and how we can, how people can partner with you and take advantage of your resources. So with that, I'm going to change to, oops.
Well, hopefully I can get my screen to share the way that I'm trying to get it to share, but give me
Well, if it doesn't, it'll be fine.
let me see here. Let's see if it will do what I want.
We're all friends here.
We all know that technology doesn't exactly work like we want it to.
Right.
Isn't that why we're here?
Let's see.
Seems to be good now.
It is showing, but there's still a little, yeah, you're moving it. There we go.
trying to make
There was
it
a rogue rogue
bend
tab.
to my will. It is not being as bendy as I wish it to be this morning. I apologize. All right.
So I'm sorry, Jessica, before if I interrupt for a second. So Jessica, you're going to do the presentation?
Myself and Sky.
We're both
And
going to do
so
it, but
Sky,
she's going to
did
manage
you want to
the slides.
do any kind of an intro first or not? Or
We will. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Sure that I actually got
Okay, I'll leave it to you guys to do your thing.
I haven't had coffee yet, Steve. We're just revving up the engines.
Okay.
theoretically, now that I've gotten the slides to slide,
Okay.
we'll be sharing about digital lift and how we partner with communities all over the country, closing digital divide and working with our hands-on training, meaningful relationships, and our resources. So let me theoretically, oh, why do you hate me? There we go. So some of y'all have met me already. My name is Jessica Strom, otherwise known as Jess, and I've responded to other things as well. I'm the Senior Program Manager at Digital Lift, and I will have Sky introduce herself.
Hi, yes, good morning, everyone. It's good to be back with y'all. My schedule has just not allowed me to attend every meeting, unfortunately. So I'm here in spirit via Jessica Strom. But today I actually get to be here in person. I am the Deputy Director at Digital Lift, and so happy to be here with you this morning. So,
Sky, remind me where you are.
I am in Austin, Texas, and Jess is in San Antonio. So,
Okay.
yeah, we're both actually officed out of Texas.
Okie doke. So, Jess, I guess it sounds like it's back to you.
So actually, I'm going to dive in, and I'm just talking, like I said, just warming up here. We want to introduce ourselves as Digital Lift, formerly known as Community Tech Network. So you may know us by our old name, but by now we've been wearing the moniker of Digital Lift for a while now. Our mission and vision are grounded in, the simple belief that meaningful access to technology goes far beyond devices or connectivity alone. At Digital Lift, we focus on building the skills, confidence, and support systems people need to fully participate in today's digital world. Through community-centered training, partnerships, and capacity building, we work to ensure that individuals and organizations alike are equipped not just with access to technology, but also with the knowledge of how to use it in ways that strengthen opportunity, connection, and long-term community resilience. We have been in operations since 2008. Digital Lift has worked alongside community-based organizations, housing agencies, libraries, healthcare providers, and other trusted partners to expand meaningful digital access for low-income communities. And our work includes basic and intermediate digital literacy training for adults of all ages, multilingual curriculum development, and we specialize in train the trainer support and technical assistance for organizations that are building or strengthening their digital equity programs. Today, our curriculum is available in over 10 languages, and we have partnered with more than 430 agencies nationwide to support sustainable, community-centered digital inclusion efforts. Next slide, please, Jess.
Theoretically, there we go.
So with more than a decade of digital innovation and inclusion expertise, Digital Lift has delivered high-impact training and tools to communities across the country for over 18 years. We are beyond driving age and getting up to let's go meet and have an adult beverage age. This includes over 19,000 hours of training delivered to partners for the purpose of building capacity and our training for trainers. 239 partners nationwide now have specifically identified staff and or volunteers to serve as trainers on hand to sustain their work that are now certified by Digital Lift as digital navigators. And we have delivered 6,725 devices since, I believe that number is since 2018. Additionally, we proudly offer a library of linguistically proficient digital skills curricula on a multitude of different devices for use in digital skills building classrooms or workshop settings. And we do currently speak 10 languages fluently in-house to assist with translation needs. We work with a translation house for any language need that we can't serve directly inside of our own infrastructure. Jess, I'm going to ask you to move to the next slide. Thank you. Our capacity building model is designed to help organizations like yours scale digital equity efforts efficiently while building the internal sustainability over time. Through tailored training and technical assistance, we support program managers, digital navigators, and classroom trainers in developing the skills, tools, and operational frameworks needed to lead successful community-based programs sustainably. While these roles may serve different functions within an organization, the lines between them are increasingly more collaborative and fluid. So in particular, we are seeing digital navigators take on expanded responsibilities that go beyond one-on-one support to include workshop facilitation, small group instruction, and ongoing digital skills coaching within trusted community spaces. So with access to our structured curriculum, multilingual training materials, and facilitation support, navigators are now well positioned to serve as both guides and educators, helping organizations create more flexible, responsive service delivery models without requiring entirely separate instructional teams. To further support implementation across all of the sectors, we also provide, specialized training modules for public libraries, aging and senior service providers, community health and wellness organizations, and public benefits enrollment programs. Our goal in doing this is to equip the organizations with adaptable staffing models, practical tools, and scalable training strategies that strengthen their long-term impact in their communities. Jess, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you to talk about our work in Texas.
So I know I've been able to share a little bit about some of our work in general and our Texas work in past meetings for a few things. But our LIFT programs, as Sky has already said, are very tailored to meet local and individual organization needs and the workforce demands or other health demands that they have across the regions that they serve. And a very prime example of that is our partnership with Methodist Healthcare Ministries in Texas, where we're serving across a 74 county region just for that grant partnership. Through that, we're training community health workers, and all of our Texas staff are actually certified CHWs, which is fantastic. And we're training those CHWs for our partner organizations as digital navigators, supporting telehealth access, public benefits enrollment, and digital wellness literacy. We're serving rural and aging and disability organizations, low income, veteran serving, reintegration, both multilingual and monolingual communities as well, safely, particularly in the environment now, and approachably too, in both the capital region, the Alamo region, the mid-border regions, as well as the upper Rio Grande Valley, or Rio Grande Valley, also referred to sometimes as RGV, the portion closest to the border. For those of y'all that don't necessarily know Texas geography, central and south. So we are meeting the partners and learners literally and figuratively where they are, providing those services in person, virtually, hybrid setting, again, for some of those partners serving particularly vulnerable communities right now with immigrant populations, sometimes that looks different than how that was initially set up. So we try and adjust as those communities need that. Under our MHM grant award, we're serving 30 community partners across a 3-year time period, as well as providing more than 20 digital equity partners, also the fellow grantees, with training for their staff and volunteers as navigators, resources, that multilingual curriculum, devices, as well as our digital navigator direct support services. Within the MHM partnership ecosystem, we've conducted and supported hundreds now of community outreach events, and we've had more than 500 unique enrollments for our digital navigator certification training, and distributed 750 data-enabled devices through that partnership. And it's been incredibly robust and an amazing way to see, especially in this environment, the funder ecosystem work in a really great and sustainable way.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. So we want to look at, especially with this group, where the strategy turns into implementation and where partnership can and does become that measurable community impact, not just in the state of Texas, but across the nation. Digital Lift does work with counties, state agencies, coalitions, and community-based organizations to build this sustainable digital equity ecosystem that we're speaking to at both the local and regional level. Our work ranges from supporting those individual agencies to coordinating large-scale capacity building efforts across multiple partners and sectors. Recently in King County, Washington, we trained 34 digital navigators through an in-person regional pilot training model paired with ongoing learning management system access and debrief sessions, the multilingual curricula that we've been speaking to, and regionally specific resources that were designed to support their long-term implementation. And in Lake County, Illinois, we similarly supported the training of 30 digital navigators to strengthen their local digital inclusion capacity and community-based service delivery. What sets this work apart is its adaptability, the fact that we can tailor to meet the needs of our partners and any entity that we work with. We collaborate very closely with those partners to tailor their training so that it is adaptable to meet their specific community's needs. We don't just come in and say like, hey, we know this is the need. We assess the need with them in partnership, and we show up as learners, to understand directly what the specific needs are in those communities. So we tailor that training, the curriculum, and the implementation tools to reflect those local priorities, the cultural context, language access needs, and regional resource landscapes. The result of this is not simply a one-time training experience, but a scalable model that then helps those organizations embed their digital equity work sustainably within their existing systems and trusted community networks. And Jess, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about what our partners are saying about us.
Yeah, so one of the themes, if you will, that we consistently hear from partners is the importance of flexibility, that responsiveness, and also the culturally relevant implementation support. So, for example, our partner with the Intercultural Development Research Association, they expanded beyond the point of its original scope in response to the emerging community need in the Rio Grande Valley, again, border region. So through a bilingual virtual training model, their youth navigators across the four colonias, which is the area that's referred to there, again, in that border region, targeted digital equity training and ongoing support, which was designed to reflect the language, the culture, the realities of those communities that they serve. And building on that partnership evolved into sequential bilingual training for a series that helped support that continued learner engagement and long-term community impact that they've had. And we love that type of feedback because that reinforces what many of our partners value most, that adaptable training model, the collaborative problem solving that we go into, and the ability to meet those communities where they are, again, literally and figuratively, and adapt as the real-time needs evolve there within those communities and for the partners. From other partners like Lake County that Sky mentioned in Illinois, which I always love because that's where my in-laws are in that region. That helps reinforce the importance of pairing the training with the long-term implementation support for the peer learning opportunities and the collaborative community planning that they're working on. So for Lake County's Digital Navigator program, the value extended far beyond the initial foundational skill building. Their team emphasized how the structured training portion, again, the multilingual curriculum access, and the debrief sessions and that ongoing implementation support for them strengthened both their navigator confidence in building out the program and the program effectiveness points while helping them foster a broader network of that shared learning across their digital navigator programs. And we see that nationwide with our other partners. What's especially meaningful for these is seeing that capacity transition into long-term community action. Those are, things that we continue to have to show for grant work, right? Across, all of our organizations. So recently, Lake County and the city of North Chicago, they announced a major collaborative initiative to expand their free public Wi-Fi across the community. And that's the result of years of planning and partnership development and infrastructure coordination, and also that shared commitment to the work. And while the work reflects obviously the tremendous leadership and dedication of the local partners, it also helps demonstrate what's possible when organizations actually are equipped with the tools, the training, the collaborative frameworks needed to move beyond just the strategy point into actual implementation, or to, adjust their implementation. And initiatives like these have just been a very powerful example of how sustained investment in digital navigators, in local leadership, and in those cross-sector partnerships really help communities build long-lasting, equitable digital access solutions that we so continue to desperately need right now. For anybody that hasn't worked with us for anything before, if you would like resources, information, any of those details, I have our lovely QR code portion for our partnership form if you'd like to see what anything looks like with your organization. If you want to take a moment to fill anything out, I can also, I will put the link in the chat here in just a moment. But I click, do what I want. There we go. Hate it when technology fights me when I'm doing something.
You're the boss, Jess. You're the boss.
I control the computer. But if anybody has questions, especially for Sky as deputy director and really the person who has really developed and stood up the Navigator certification training programs, we, I think, still have a little bit of time, Steve. I think.
Yes, you do. Yeah, absolutely. So, Jess, if you stop sharing, then we can get back to seeing everybody.
Absolutely.
And we'll put our emails in the chat as well so that you can reach out to either one of us individually if you'd like to, or together. Also, the link to that partnership forum, which just means like if you'd like more information or if you'd like to get on a call and talk about what is possible, or just, put our brains together and toss some ideas around, we're always happy to do so. So any questions from this group? Sorry, Jess, I didn't mean to talk over you.
I am also, besides the partnership, I'm going to put in the chat, one of the things that we only kind of briefly touched on with the curriculum is we do have quite a few free resources for some of the digital navigator training introductions, curriculum for teaching internet safety that is free for everyone. So I will plunk those in here as well. And I also wanted to note too, just because I harped on it slightly when we were a few weeks ago talking about some of the disability access points, that is a big sure that we have that things are hyper accessible. And I'm so sorry, Paloma, I was ignoring your hands. I apologize.
Okay, it just came up. You guys had mentioned that you work with a translation house. Can you talk a little bit more about that, how that started, what the coordination kind of looks like? So where you got to the point where you can offer your curriculum in like over 10 languages? That's so awesome.
Yeah, so that is just in order to meet language needs that we can't meet in-house. Like if we don't have a native speaker in-house, oftentimes over the years we have had, if not a staff member, a consultant on hand that is already working out in the field in the language that we need to translate to, and so they will help us. But what we've found is that with different dialects and so many things, like just dependent upon what region you're from or what have you, that kind of across the board when we did translations outside of when we did translations working with multiple partners, whether they were employed by us or not, we found that sometimes there would be inconsistencies or discrepancies, and we always make the best effort that we can to ensure that our curriculum is culturally proficient, and that we utilize plain language, in order to deliver the information, that we have posted images that are culturally proficient as well, that we're not posting anything that in one culture or another doesn't make sense or isn't appropriate, so on and so forth. So we do have a trusted translation house that we do work with for those additional language needs. And that's just, over the years, we've built that relationship up with them where, when we have a need we can't fill in-house, we can send the information over to them. So we've created it all. We'll send it to them. They'll run the translation for us with native speakers and then deliver it back. So there's a bit of an upcharge when we have to do that, obviously, because we're having to work with an outside party. We've also partnered with partners. So like if we work with a partner organization that has a language need and they have native speakers, we have partnered with partners as well to create translations. I'm trying to remember, Jess, what was the most recent one where we were?
Yeah, they do work all across the country, and they have a San Antonio base as well. And so, for example, they have some additional Arabic Pashto needs. And so for some of that handout translation, we've worked directly with them for that. And we're really fortunate that we have Mandarin speakers, of course, Spanish, but also other languages as well, Russian, etc., that we have native speakers for. And so we've been able to have a really robust language option for curriculum that just makes it easy to download and have, as opposed to having an organization spend so much staff time, and energy trying to not just translate the text, but also the images, so that like when you have the email text on screen for what those images are, that's also translated into Mandarin, Russian, Tagalog, Vietnamese, etc. That we have available there. And while we do see in general the most usage from English and Spanish, Mandarin is also incredibly high in Vietnamese as well, depending upon the region, of course, that people are in. And it's that part has been really valuable for a lot of people. Like, oh, great, now I don't have to like spend additional, 20 to Lord knows how many hours trying to do the additional photo piece portion, because it's really not helpful when you have a training that's okay, the text is translated from English into Mandarin, but then none of the images are, and so then it doesn't match what people have, and it that part can just be really frustrating for learners and also for the navigators teaching, and it just makes their lives harder when those things don't line up. And so thankfully we have the ability to provide that.
Yeah, and I would just tag on to that too, to state that there's certain descriptors or terminology that we might use that is commonplace for us in English, but it just may not translate at all in another language. And so in those cases, we make sure that we are using examples that are culturally relevant and understandable.
And I apologize, I did not finish putting everything else in here in the chat. I did just plunk the trainer training for internet safety in the chat, and I am plunking in the internet safety classroom curriculum that is there in the chat in 2 seconds. And I apologize, I can't see all the, if there's any other hands, please feel free to unmute, but otherwise, if there's no other questions, Steve, I'll pass that.
Hey, Jess, can you share the presentation so I can share it out to people?
Yes, I will give you the downloaded email in just a moment.
Yeah, we'll do that. We have to PDF it for you, and we'll send it over.
That's fine. PDF is actually better because it's not quite as difficult. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that was that an online presentation, or is that is there a link that you can share, or is it just or do you just need to share the presentation?
We'll share the presentation with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Rather than trying to get people permissions to access the document and all of that. We don't want to mess with all that. Nothing more frustrating than trying to open a document and you're not allowed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the classroom curriculum that I posted in there, that's an instant download. If that's of use to y'all, that's something that you can immediately download and use for free.
Okay. Thank you, Jess. So just a reminder, a couple of things, not related specifically to what they were talking about, but I try to remind people that you can download the chat. At the end of the meeting, I do, as you probably know, I do share that out, but you can also download the chat immediately to your computer that has links and stuff like that. And so if you go to chat and you go to the top, there's 3 ellipses, and if you click on that, it says download to computer. The other thing I will remind you, and I don't think you did an attachment, Jess, but if anybody puts attachments in the chat, after the meeting's over, you can no longer access that. So you have to download it before the meeting is over to be able to access that document. So just a reminder about that.
I'll send those to Steve as well separately, just so it's easier for when you're doing the reading.
Sounds great.
Yeah, well, we do encourage you guys. Sorry, Steve. We do encourage you guys to utilize and access these free materials. They're incredibly valuable. And yeah, the Digital Navigator Overview is the first part of a 2-part Navigator certification training. And then the Teaching Internet Safety is for your trainers, like how to teach good digital citizenship. And then the Internet Safety curriculum is currently available in 4 different languages right now to be utilized right out of the box in your classrooms.
Great. Well, Jess and Sky, thank you so much for being here this morning and giving us an update on all the great work you're doing. Another one of these great national organizations that are doing great stuff and have a lot of resources and help. So really encourage you all to take advantage of their resources. So again, Sky, good to see you, and Jess, thanks for joining us pretty regularly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve, for having us again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
So if there's
Paloma.
no other questions for Jess, did you have something else?
I was saying thank you to Paloma in the chat.
Yeah. Okie doke. Let's move on. Lucy, do you have a quick announcement?
I was just putting it in the chat that we are having our health and education biweekly task force meeting today at 2. So as soon as I press enter, it'll go. And the update, I believe, from our last My Healthy Broadband Live series was we were joined by Kelly and her mom, and then also Jason Kawamoto from the Older Adults Technology Services with AARP. So it was a great exchange on the senior space. And Kelly's mom being 81 years old, and it was the Thursday before Mother's Day. And it was just beautiful, I think. And Aaron was watching and Mala interacted with it. So I think this focus on seniors and not discounting their ability to grab and enrich and embrace technology, well, is I think we should focus more on it. So anyway, Stephen, I don't know if you had any feedback from that show. I thought it was awesome. I was showing my dad later about because my dad rejected to be on the as a guest, but I was like, look at Kelly's mom, and it was just great to give an 81-year-old voice, right? And she came from AT&T and she had like patents and stuff. And so it was just really interesting to give seniors a voice.
Yeah, it wasn't just her being a senior. It's just that her background is just absolutely phenomenal. The research and the work that she's done over the years. It was actually a very good program. So
as with most 80-year-olds, most 80-year-olds have an incredible story to tell. So I think we should have like a regular segment for our seniors in there.
One thing, Jess, that I didn't ask about is how do you guys deal with people with disabilities? Is that an issue for you? How have you been able to deal with that?
No, not an issue at all. Very much, and I think Sky views this way as well. It's very much a privilege, especially because we always end up learning something that we didn't know, no matter what we go into. And we, through a myriad of partnerships, especially with Morgan's that I know I've mentioned before, and for anybody that's not familiar, Morgan's Wonderland is the only fully accessible theme park, I think, in the world and definitely in the country, which happens to be in San Antonio, right in my backyard, almost literally. And they have the Morgan's Multi-Assistance Center, which is workforce and medical and all kinds of other incredible programs that they do. And we work with them for their digital literacy programs. Sometimes that's one-on-one, sometimes that's larger workforce-based programs. And there's always something that we can take away, whether it's an adaptability point for a screen reader that then we can be made aware of for a particular point, like we were talking about a few weeks ago with the screen reader challenges that many people encounter. And also adapting for other learner points. So for example, one of our other partners works with low cognitive age participants. And for anybody that's not really familiar with what that means, although I expect most of us probably are, that means that somebody can be an adult whose actual age is 42, but cognitively maybe they're 8, maybe 12, maybe younger. And what that looks like with those learners and how to have that adaptability point, and especially for then providing for caregivers with that learning and what that looks like, especially for telehealth and other points. And we look at that with our older adults and seniors as well for some of those adaptability points. And then what that looks like maybe on the accessibility tool portions, mice, or what that looks like for adjusting screens and taking the time to make sure that if there is, for example, before we go in for a class, asking both the organization and the learners, is there an accessibility need that you might have, so that ideally we're as prepped as we can be ahead of the class. So maybe we have a computer set up already with a much larger mouse already set on screen, or the color adjusted, etc. So trying to do the prep and prior planning for that, and then also adapting that in our trainer training and going through that in their capstone rather, words today are hard, point after their asynchronous training to go through just solutions and options for like an individual organization that they might have come up. But we always take the approach of trying to continuously learn along the way, and Sky is emphatically nodding, and then trying to adapt that if we need to have an adaptation for our curriculum long term, then we make those adjustments there. Or we have, as part of our navigator training, a resource package point, and we are constantly updating that with learning points, other resource points. Like I brought up Morphic again a few weeks ago as which is a free tool to utilize the computer's already existing accessibility tools, and things like that. We try and make sure that as many tools as possible are there. I'm sorry, Lucy.
Go ahead, Jess.
Sorry. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm sorry. No,
right. No. I saw the box light up. I apologize. But yeah, no, we try and make those adjustments constantly, and especially within the healthcare additional training portions, making continuous updates to those things as we come across anything. And thankfully, we don't have to make updates super often because we have built that out really, really robustly. But there's always new things to learn and new tools coming around. And so that resource package point, we tend to update the most. But there's, especially with the website accessibility points, and we were talking about that again a few weeks ago, that is such a major pain point for so many people. And we're, making updates to our own website for particular things with that, and just constantly trying to adapt along the way. And then as we have those, maybe new lessons learned points, we'll put that out publicly in various ways, either blog post or, of course, adapting trainings and curriculum, but also sending out those resources to the partners and trying to build out those other points. And then also something that's very important to us is making sure that we're prepared to be learning in those places and doing work effectively. So like for the Epilepsy Foundation, which I used to work for many years ago, it was really important to us to make sure that all of our staff have which is free, by the way, seizure first aid certification training, so that while we're working with learners, should there be a medical situation, that our staff is able to appropriately respond there as well. And then taking trainings that Morgan's has on additional disability language, phrasing, things like that, so that we can make sure that we are adjusting that for each partner, making sure that any language that we're using is appropriate, adapted, etc. It was a really long answer to that.
Well, Jess, as you know, that you were here for Gordon Fuller's presentation, and unfortunately, we don't see Gordon very much because he's in Hawaii. So this is like 5 o'clock in the morning for him. So, so we don't get to see him very often. But he has been a tireless advocate. Well, as you know, he is blind, and he has been a tireless advocate for people with disabilities. And so I think we've become much more sensitive to that population that we don't talk nearly enough about over time, and yet it's a very large population of people that
Yeah.
and it's, I mean, obviously it's people with lots of different disabilities. But anyway, so that's why I was asking that question.
No,
It's a really important issue.
it is. And the vision part, and I shared this last time, so I don't mind sharing it again, on the personal note for me, and I shared with, I'm type 2 diabetic, and it had started to impact my eyes, which fortunately, I was very lucky. I was able to have some other treatments via literal needles in my eyes. 0 to 5 stars, don't recommend. But thankfully my vision stabilized. But for some of those website tools, like checking to see what that looks like for other learners, like with diabetic retinopathy, that while I can't attest to what the color blindness portion looks like, I can attest to what the diabetic retinopathy portion actually looks like, because I had those blockouts in my vision for thankfully only a very short period of time. But at least on that point, like certain things on visualizing what that looks like for people on screen. So those type of things are important to me, because I had a very brief for myself experience with bits with my vision, but those are things that we try and take into account as much as possible. And I'm sorry, Dave, I just saw your hand.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt real quickly, but my wife is working with a multinational and there's a lot of technical training, and she's really found that these AirPod 2 and 3s, they're not only really good functional hearing aids, but the real-time in-ear translation seems to be fairly well ahead of anything else that she had before. So, she's starting to make pretty heavy use of those.
Yeah, the translation stuff that some of both the Apple and I think some non-Apple ones can do now are amazing.
Well, these the price on these, since they're last year's model, you can buy these in the area of $100 these days. But I have hearing loss in one ear, so it's dual function. It really acts as a very functional hearing aid and real-time language translation. So it's the caveat is you have to attach it to an iPhone or something like that. So
yeah, they're great. For like classes and stuff, we want to use the standard translation points. But yeah, for out and about, for everything every day, it can make a real difference for people. So many things. I've seen some of the non-Apple kind of like random brand Android things. I haven't utilized those, so I don't know how well those work, but the Apple ones have been pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had to. My wife just informed me we have a huge rattlesnake in our garage.
Oh no.
Well, if you can successfully save the snake, great. Otherwise, save the rattle.
Yeah, I'm sure we probably will. So she's dealing with trying to figure out how to deal with that problem. Anyway, just a little diversion there. So anyway, Jess and Sky, thank you again for being here today. It was awesome. So a couple of quick things. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Steve, really quickly, I wanted to share, and you may already have this on your docket. Later this afternoon, 1 o'clock East Coast time, there's the Benton Institute put it out, as well as others, that there's a Digital Equity Act month press conference happening. And there's going to be a couple of congressional representatives that will be part of that. And I just added that link to the chat. They're trying to push for some action back on potentially refunding Digital Equity Act. And I'm very happy to say that a navigator will be on that previously from Opportunity Home in San Antonio. Belinda, and she is one of our trained navigators. But her story is really amazing. But just in general, the press conference is there. So encourage
Cool.
you if you have time to check that out.
Thank you. What? So I'm sorry. It's what time?
It's 1 East Coast time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on quickly. We don't have too much time left. Randy, you want to give us a quickie update on the good, bad, and ugly in Washington
You
these days?
you bet. I've actually just a few news items I was going to drop in the chat, and I can go through them pretty quickly. There was and this just overwhelms the chat, so hopefully you have a window. Benton had a nice summary of a bunch of House bills that just came out, and and they touch on different things, but a lot of the theme is sort of accountability under BEAD, and also tracking progress and so forth. So the article is really good, and there's a link to sort of each of the um, measures as well, and some are being debated, some are passed. Um, Something else that was really good that just came out yesterday is the ACLP, which is kind of a law school that does a lot of policy issues. They came out with a magnificent report on polls and sort of poll attachment costs, and and so I put in a link to their study and then an article about it. But what's really nice is they looked at investor owned utilities and co-ops and sort of the different way they do attachments and how that's impacting BEAD. But it was really nice because they had a lot of data associated with it, and they do really nice work. So that was good. And then the last thing is, I know last week, the FCC or the Eighth Circuit, came out with a ruling on digital discrimination, and people thought, what is this? So I thought I'd drop in a couple links. This was actually kind of what they repealed was actually put in place in 2023, and so it's helpful to just understand under two administrations kind of all the debate and so forth. So anyway, those are just links, but those were the things that kind of hit me in terms of news items this week. Oh, I think you're muted, Steve.
I have people here
Okay.
painting our house and stuff, so they're rattling papers and talking and stuff. So anyway, so I was on mute. Any questions for Randy? Going once, going twice. Mark, do you have anything you want to add? Mark, are you there? Okay, well, while waiting for Mark, Malva, what do you got to say?
I think Randy covered it all. So
Okay.
that's what I wanted to say. I put some links in the chat too. The broadband legislation that Randy was talking about. It's all under that one link that I sent. Although Randy's got all of the different links there. So if you miss copying that, there's one link that you can go to and get all of them. Other than that, I think last week I mentioned that the E-rate survey is out. So those who are applying for E-rate, the schools and libraries that are applying for E-rate, please take that survey. The link is in the minutes that Steve sent out. So if you can take that survey, then your voices will be heard through them at FCC. So I know we grumble about a lot of things, but that won't reach them unless you fill that survey. It's only about 8 minutes it takes. I tried it myself. So if you can do that, we'd be really, really, really grateful. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mala. Anthony, you got anything from the state library that you want to talk about?
Hey, Steve. This is Anthony Costantini, digital inclusion consultant with the State Library. And I don't have many updates for us, but I did want to share something I saw in the NDIA listserv the other day that caught my eye. I apologize if you've already shared this. It's a broadband gap analysis of tribal communities in Arizona, which I thought was really nice. The author's done analysis for 5 other states as well, so there's a lot to dig into there. But just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Great. Great. Thanks, Anthony. Okay. So anybody else have any updates that anybody I've missed? John, we haven't heard from you in a while. Anything you want to talk about up there, up in your part of the state?
I'm just pleased as punch because tomorrow, officially my summer begins. So we had our graduation the second, and we are getting prepared for our fourth annual AI Cyber Workshop, August 14, 15, 16. So I can send to you, Steve, information about that. So if somebody would like to present about IoT or industrial controls or even pedagogy as it relates to AI and cyber. A big thing that's happening is the NSF has decided there is no such thing as cyber for National Centers of Academic Excellence. It is from now on cyber AI as of September 1st, 2025. And going forward, they don't believe that our students are going to be adequately prepared unless they are both fluent in cyber and AI. So it is now called Cyber AI Centers of Academic Excellence.
Hey, John, can you just tell people who you are?
Oh, sure. So I have my day job is I'm professor of cyber intelligence and security at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and then also have the Center for the Future, an incubator accelerator up here in Prescott, Arizona, and we're having our 5-year gala and ribbon cutting because we've moved to a new location just down the street at 126 North Marina. I'll send you that too. That's in July 10th, Friday, July 10th. Yep. So come up to Prescott where it's nice and cool in July.
So, John, you're going to be off for the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing stuff, but I'm not teaching. So
okay,
that will be,
thank you.
That'll be good. Thanks for asking.
Sure, John. So anybody have anything? Oh, I'm sorry, David, you have your hand up.
Yeah, real quick, Steve. You may be interested in reaching out. I've been spending a lot of time kind of researching the neo-Luddites and where a lot of the pushback is coming from. So it might be interesting to get a presentation. There's a place called an organization called the Luddite Club, and they have chapters on some pretty substantial college campuses, and they make the argument against technology and a lot of what you're doing. So it'd be an interesting exercise to maybe get a presentation, maybe hear some of these objections to, because from, I understand some of them are radically anti-technology. Some of them are not averse to technology, but the uses. But it's always good to hear the perspective of people that are maybe working the other side of the equation. But if you just look up the Luddite Club on the internet, you can get a list of the chapters, and they're set up on some pretty prestigious universities. So it's food for thought.
Thanks, Dave. Anybody have anything else for the good of the order before we end for today? Going once, going twice. Well, as you know, I'm going to stop the recording, and if anybody wants to stay online and chat, we will do that for a while. If not, we're officially over for today.